Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Spring 2021 Virtual Study Abroad Fair. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker this evening. We have Joel Freeman from Usac here today to join us. Usac is one of our partners in Study Abroad. They have offerings all throughout the world. He's going to tell you about some of the unique opportunities to engage in Study Away through this collaboration. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Joel, and I'll mute myself, turn myself off, but we'll come back a little later to ask some questions.
Great, thanks, Scott. Thanks everyone for joining. Let's hope this connection holds up. I've been having some issues with Teams today, but we'll see how it goes here. So yeah, this is just intended to kind of give you an introduction to USAC and our programs that we offer, how the process works, how to find a program and resources to kind of help you out wherever you might be in your study abroad process here. So the first thing I just kind of want to briefly mention, I think this is pretty important to kind of think about, is not only do we want you to focus on finding a program that suits you academically, but what that might entail in addition to that and related to finances as well. So not just the cost of the program, but also the how much it costs to just live in a certain location in that city and day-to-day expenses. So looking at the courses, making sure that you find a program that suits you based on your major and minor, any electives that you might need to take as well. We have two different program models as well, and I'll talk about those in just a little bit, but those provide you with a different experience depending on one or the other. And also thinking about your academic timeline. When is the best time for you to go, whether it's a summer, semester program, second year, third year, fourth year, so on. So figuring those things out as well. As I mentioned, the cost, not only is it going to be a factor, the cost of the program and everything related to that, but also financial aid and scholarships that you have available to you, either from Stout or from external providers as well. We have a lot of scholarships that are offered. Some are based on location, some are merit-based, and then there's a lot of external scholarships as well that are open to students for all sorts of backgrounds. So we certainly recommend using some of the resources that we have to seek those out. And again, the location, definitely encourage you to think not only about the cost of the program, what is your tuition cost going to be, but also what is the cost of living in these cities. One of the unique things about USAC programs is that we typically have programs in smaller cities or lesser known locations. So one of the benefits there is that you're going to be studying in a small city in France rather than Paris, or you're going to be spending time in smaller cities in Italy as opposed to Rome or Florence. And oftentimes the cost of day-to-day expenses are going to be less in those locations as well. Thinking about the location, obviously that's maybe the first thing that you might think about. Thinking about the location, if it's an English-speaking or non-English-speaking country, obviously that's going to provide you with a very different experience. We do have some programs that are really strongly focused on language as well. So if you are interested in maybe pursuing a Spanish language courses, French, Chinese, so on and so forth, there's a lot of opportunities there. But also encourage you to think about the location as it relates to maybe geography and climate as well. Are you someone who prefers a smaller city or a bigger city? If you, if we're both in Wisconsin right now and it's not particularly nice out, so maybe you're more intrigued by a location in Costa Rica or Brazil or Thailand. So those are things to factor in as well. And then other considerations too, as it relates to your personal goals, your post-graduation goals, maybe your career goals further down the line, thinking about your identity and how that might impact your study abroad experience, and then experiential learning opportunities in the form of internships, volunteering, service learning, so on. So that's kind of something I just want to briefly mention here to talk about some additional factors that you might think about in selecting a study abroad program. So as I mentioned, we do have two different USAC program models. We have USAC specialty programs and USAC partnership programs. So these specialty programs, and these are the programs that most of our students attend. About 80% of our student body is enrolled in a specialty program. These are true USAC programs in the sense that we create the entire curriculum for the program. We have on-site staff and support that live and work in these locations that are there to help you for the time that you are there. They coordinate the housing, field trips, excursions, internships, virtually everything that the program offers. And you will be taking US credit courses taught by local faculty abroad, and you'll be taking them with other USAC students. And there might be other students from Stout on this program. There might be other students from other schools in Wisconsin or in Minnesota, but chances are you're going to be in your classes with students from Washington State to California to Maine, Texas, anywhere in between. So it's a pretty unique classroom environment. One of the key distinctions with the specialty programs is that they have a pretty specialized academic focus. Usually they have 2 or 3 different areas in which they really excel. So for example, we have a program in Bilbao in Spain that has a strong focus on international business and Spanish. We also have programs such as one in Costa Rica, which has a focus on environmental sciences, ecological studies, and Spanish as well. So you'll see a lot of programs that have that dual sort of focus there. And then looking at the partnership programs, these are programs in which we essentially facilitate an exchange program for you. So you'll be directly enrolling at this university abroad, and you'll be taking classes with any student at that local institution. So you'd be taking classes with other international students, maybe some additional USAC students as well, but as compared to the specialty program, not only may you be the only student from Stout or from Wisconsin, you might be the only American student in your classroom. So as you can imagine, it's a very immersive experience there. Most of the partnership programs do not have USAC staff located in there, but the staff that is located in these locations that work for these different institutions abroad, they'll provide you with the same level of support. They'll help, or they will coordinate the on-site orientation. They will help welcome you to the program, show you to your housing, how the courses will work, so on and so forth, and they'll be there to support you for the time that you're there. So there's a lot of other nuances within the specialty and partnership distinction, but I think the key thing is that the specialty is US credit courses with more limited course disciplines, but you'd be with a cohort of students, and then the partnership is exchange, very wide-ranging course offerings, but you might be the only US student in these any of your courses. And briefly looking at some of these programs here. So these are the USAC specialty programs that we offer. So you'll see the general rule of thumb is that these are typically offered in non-English speaking countries. There's, of course, a couple of exceptions here in England, for example, but these are the locations that we have specialty programs, and these are typically offered during both semester and summer options. So all of these have these dual options here. One thing to note about these locations, especially the non-English speaking country locations, is that we do not have any language requirements. So if you are very interested in China or Ghana but don't speak that language, you are more than welcome to apply to that program. We don't have any requirements that you need to have previous formal education experience within that language. However, we do certainly encourage you to pursue that language if you are there, and in some cases you would be required to take a language course. The one exception to that rule I should note is one program in Lyon, France. If you are interested in that program, you need to have at least 1 full year of college level French completed. Otherwise, any other program here, you're welcome to apply regardless of your language background. And moving over to the partnership programs here. So the general rule of thumb is that these are typically offered in English-speaking countries or places in which a large portion of the population is bilingual or has a strong familiarity with English. So you'll see UK, Australia, South Africa, but also places like Sweden and Netherlands as well. Again, the benefit to the partnership programs is that with limited language barriers or perhaps non-existent language barriers, you're able to take virtually any course offered at any of these programs. So very wide-ranging academic offerings here. And these are, not all of these are offered for both summer and semester, but all of them are offered for at least a semester. So some, if you are looking for a summer program, only a select number of these do have summer options. On all of our programs, we have a lot of experiential learning opportunities and chances for immersion opportunities as well. Looking at our specialty programs, all of those programs have field trips and excursions as part of the program, and they are included in the program fee. So your the accommodation for that, or your ticket on the bus, or however you get to that particular field trip is all taken care of. So it's just a matter of showing up and joining the USAC group. And our focus here is definitely on giving you the opportunity to step outside the city and see more of the region or more of the country in which you're studying. We want you to feel that you have a holistic view of that area as best as you can during your time there. We do offer optional tours as well, and these are oftentimes accompanied by a 1-credit field study should you be interested. But these typically take place either before or after the end of the courses. And oftentimes these are to the larger cities or maybe regional hubs, depending on the location. For example, our program in Lüneburg, Germany, there's an optional tour to Berlin, usually at either the beginning or the end of the term. Lots of immersion opportunities in the form of language partners, different clubs that you can join, sports on campus. One of the great benefits is that all of the USAC programs are located on campuses abroad. So you have the resources that you would come to expect on a campus. So gyms, libraries, things like that, a lot of opportunities to meet local students. And then internship opportunities. We have a lot of internship opportunities in both specialty and partnership programs. And those are typically students are taking them for 3 credits, but is ultimately up to what sort of requirements you may have. And they really vary depending on what you're interested in, where you are studying, and your level of knowledge of that particular language. Want to point out some resources that we have available to you. So our program advisors, they are our team that helps students in the pre-departure process so they can answer any general program questions you have. They'll help you through the visa process should you need a visa for your particular program. They'll help you secure housing. They'll give you some cultural tips and tricks as well. We have scholarship resources, and you'll see our scholarship email there. So if you're interested in learning more about our scholarships, you can send them an email. Our website obviously is a great place to find all sorts of information about any of our programs. The past participant list as well. So if you're interested in hearing from recent alumni, we can put you in contact with any alumni of any certain program to kind of ask their questions on a peer-to-peer basis, and a lot of additional info sessions, events that we have up and coming over the next few months. Briefly wanted to mention a couple of new initiatives that we've had over the past year. So we have our Global Perspective program, and I really want to highlight the virtual internships. So this is a great way to gain some professional experience, get to network with different people all across the world, and earn credit for a virtual internship as well. So this has been pretty popular over the past several terms, and we're looking to continue this even after or once study abroad resumes as we we hope it will. Moving forward, we plan on continuing the virtual internships as it's a great way to remain involved and still gain some international exposure at this time. And then we have short-term spring programs as well that are accelerated. So the key benefit here is that for most of these programs, you would not need a visa in order to attend them. So more information on our website there as well, but wanted to briefly mention these two initiatives. And then lastly, wanted to make sure you go to our website, which is usac.edu, usac.edu. And on the homepage, you'll see this bar that is right in the center there, which is our program search tool. And this is a great resource that will allow you to select what you would like to study, when you would like to study, and where you would like to study. And it will filter all programs that we offer. Of the 50 plus programs that we have that might meet your criteria that you're looking for. So with that being said, I'll stop sharing my screen here and see if there are any questions.
Great. Thank you so much for that overview, Joel. It was very, very helpful. I know we have a limited audience right here with us today, but Nicole, the floor is all yours. If you've got any questions about anything that you've just heard, feel free to add them in the chat, or you can turn on your mic. We can keep an informal environment here. But you've got the key resource here in Joel. He knows all the programs inside and out and can help guide you if you're looking for a particular region or a particular major. Great opportunity to ask some questions. And I'm just going to share my screen at the moment with some follow-up information in terms of how to get in touch with us if you have more information or would like more information. Looks like Nicole's typing something for us. So, and Joel, your application cycle, I think it aligns with ours pretty well. But when do students typically apply? Let's say, if for example, a student wanted to study abroad for fall 2021 programming, what are some of the deadlines that are up and coming?
So the deadlines can vary quite a bit depending on the program. Some of those partnership programs, because we're more bound to that host institution abroad, those are up and coming within the next month or so. But for the specialty programs, those typically aren't until later in the semester. So usually late April, early May. So we'll see students applying, typically February, March. We accept students on a rolling basis, so we encourage students to apply whenever they're ready to commit to a program so that they can get into the program, finish the application, start focusing on the pre-departure process. But I would say if anyone is looking for a program this fall, I would definitely encourage sending in an application within the next month and a half, just to make sure that there aren't any issues. We typically don't have programs fill up ahead of time, but you never know. It's obviously best to play it safe there.
Sure. Great. Nicole just asked a great question regarding timeline. So let's say, for example, we have a student who is interested in a fall 2021 offering. They would, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, submit an application, and they do it through two means. One, through our office, so we can run our checks and balances and nominate you or the student, so to speak, and then they'll go through your site as well and submit an application through all of you. What's sort of next in sort of the sequence of events? So a student applies. About how much longer do they receive an indication if they've been accepted to a program?
So it can be a pretty quick process. So yeah, definitely we want to make sure that students are meeting with you all first so that they get the okay from their home university before they go to our program page and apply. The first part will be to submit an application online, which will ask some general questions. What's your GPA? What are you studying? Which school do you attend? Just so that we know who you are, know which program you are applying for. Once we get that, our enrollment team, they will review that, say, okay, we can, work with the student, and then we will give we'll give login credentials to our online portal, and then from there you'll be able to complete the next part of that application. So that would include a $100 application fee, which is part of the total program fee. It's not an additional payment at all. We'll ask you to send in your transcripts, write a personal statement about why you want to study abroad, what you hope to get out of the experience, a few different forms related to conduct, making sure that you are in good standing both at your school and in your community. Forms saying that you understand that you are participating in a study abroad program, that you will pay for it, so on and so forth. And then the home university approval as well. So an email from either Scott or Andrea or anyone else at Stout saying, yes, we've met with the student and we approve of their plans to study abroad. So it's a pretty easy, pretty quick application process. And as soon as we have all of those things, we'll review it for approval. Usually the turnaround is maybe 1 or 2 business days at most. So we want to make sure that we don't leave the student lingering for too long, that they can then go on and focus on figuring out flights and housing and course registration and all those pre-departure materials.
Sure. I think, as you describe it, it's like, wow, there's that step after that step. It seems more complicated than it really is. And I think once you start the application process, you'll see that it's really quite user-friendly, and you have support all the way through in our office, as well as with Joel, working with Joel. So, but a really good question, Nicole. Thanks for asking. All right. Okay, so we have another question regarding internship abroad. Would an internship abroad count towards the field experience or the internship requirements for graduation here at Stout? Very good question. We do have a working relationship with the Career Services Office, and it's quite possible, depending on the number of credits that you're earning and what the, if it's, I guess, through one of your specialty programs, that's credit that's being earned through Usac, right? So we would be looking at the credit, the course objectives, and making sure that it aligns well with ours, and there's an opportunity for it to count towards the Stout requirement of the internship or cooperative education experience. Joel, question on that. Most of the experiences, I imagine, are probably in a volunteer capacity, or are there any paid capacity arrangements for internship?
We don't have any paid opportunities at this moment. They're all just volunteer basis, but we do have, related to that, we do have syllabi and course information available because, as you mentioned, those internships on specialty program sites, they are accredited by a U.S. institution. So we have syllabus available for the internships, and then along with all those courses as well, and they meet the U.S. accrediting standards as well. So I would be happy to send that over to either of you.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, and it seems like, so to answer your question more specifically, Nicole, probably be treated as a field experience, because that's one of the distinctions we make between paid and unpaid, where the co-op is more of a paid capacity and the field experience is not in that paid capacity. But yeah, it sounds like there's an opportunity for you to do that. Now, students, I think you mentioned earlier on in your presentation, there's the opportunity to do a study abroad semester experience and then have a field experience as part of it during the time, or any opportunities where a student might study for a semester full-time and then stay on and do a field experience following a study away experience?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure if we've had students maybe focus on it after the fact. We do have a number of, whether it's an optional tour and then a field study, we do have those opportunities available to students, and since it's a 1 credit course that they would earn, there's certain requirements for that as well. We do have some that might be of more interest in one of our programs in San Ramon, Costa Rica comes to mind.
Okay.
As we have a focus on environmental studies in that location. So I believe, and I would have to double check, but we do have a tropical ecology course, which is a 3-credit course. And then we have the option for a tropical ecology field study as well to add on to that for 1 credit. So we do have a few programs like that, but those are a little bit more limited than the optional tours are.
Okay. Okay. So Nicole, or for any other students that are looking into field experience opportunities, we can certainly check with Joel and the destination, the degree program that you're in, and see if there's opportunities for that type of engagement. I know, Joel, here at Stout, we are, polytechnic, and the applied learning aspect is so critically important. So we have quite a few students that are in need of field experiences or internships as part of their program. So I'm glad that you offer that. It sounds like it could be a really good fit for many of our students. Great question. Nicole, if you've got any others, got another minute or two here before we're going to wrap up this session. Oh, okay. Great. Well, we really appreciate you joining us. Now, Joel, if students have questions and they want to reach out to you directly, what's your email address? What's the best way to contact you?
I'll add it to the chat here, and it's joel.freeman @usac.edu. So joel.freeman@usac.edu.
Excellent. Excellent. Great. And students could also write us at studyabroad@uw-stout.edu as well. So thanks for adding that to the chat. Yeah. And the other thing I guess important to know is that you're located here in the state of Wisconsin, right? So you're like a regional rep based out of Milwaukee. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Great. And, as soon as the pandemic is over, we'd love to have you come to campus and join us for one of our in-person fairs.
That would be great. I'm chomping at the bit to visit some campuses. Yeah, that would be great. Let's hope for fall, maybe.
Exactly, fall 2021. And we have made the determination that we're not running programs this summer just because of the uncertainty surrounding COVID, but we do intend to relaunch fall 2021. And so we're very excited to be able to start sending students away. And I know even right now during the pandemic, you have several locations where you currently have students overseas, and it's going quite well, given the restrictions that are in place at some of those destinations. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's certainly a unique study abroad experience for those students. It's not like anything our study abroad students have had before, but it's reassuring to know that there are some locations that are still open and still open to students. And we've seen from this past fall into the spring, and I'm hoping to continue what we've seen is an increase in interest moving forward from each term. So let's hope for more students summer, even more in the fall, and get back to where we left off.
Exactly, and hopefully less and less restrictions in place each semester as we progress through this. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great. We really, again, appreciate your time, and we look forward to working with you and encouraging students to join our USAC partnership offerings. So thanks again for joining us today, and thank you, Nicole, for joining us as well.
Thank you.